Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Today is a set inspired by Black History Month. Now, I'm not even gonna lie, I was not thinking about doing a Black History Month set until I was inspired by Nails and Resin by E. Make sure you guys go and check her channel out if you have not already. I will leave her channel in the description box below. Also, I'm going to add Ashley's, aka Parker's Pretty Paws, Black History Month name in the description box below also, because she did a Black History Month set just as well. Now, the reason I was not going to do a Black History Month set is not because it slipped my mind it was Black History Month. I've just kind of been lazy since this year started, to be completely honest with you, and I've just been tired or sick or just haven't felt like doing nails, creating content. I'm not going to say it's a funk because I really don't want to do anything besides cook and clean. Like, that's it. Like, I don't want to leave the house. I was happy when the kids had snow days. Like, I've just been real lazy lately. And so I'm hoping this set kind of like picks me back up to keep going and get out of this little laziness that I'm going through at the moment. And so, after knowing that Erica was doing her Black History Month series, make sure you guys go check those shorts out. I was like, okay, I think I should do Black History Month, not only for my own sake of getting back into being consistent in creating content, but it's part of my history. So why would I not want to honor those who allowed me to live the life that I live and the life that my children live this day? Yes, it's hard. Yes, some stuff is trying its best to revert back, but we are like crazy free compared to our ancestors. And honestly, we're probably related to some of these people that are legends that came before us. So I'm honestly scared to check out my ancestry. So it's my husband. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's hard to think about. Oh my God, I'm not about to cry. It's hard to think about things that people before us went through just because of the color of their skin. Like, it'd be crazy to think about nowadays how it would be if we had to protect our kids from being sold, protect our kids from being discriminated against or killed, and not get any justice because they're Black. Like, it would be, oh my God, it'd be extremely hard. I don't think I would have had kids, because I'd have been terrified that they would have been living the life that I grew up living, and my dad grew up living, my grandparents grew up living. Like, it'd have been hard, to be completely honest. So I just want to thank them, and this is the best way that I feel like we all possibly can. And if you guys want to listen to someone speak about their ancestry history, go check out the Nail Genie SC, her channel. Excuse me, because she did get it done. So make sure you guys go check her out also. So before I finish this red nail, I want to let you guys know, as part of Black History Month, one of the colors is red. And the color red represents the bloodshed and sacrifices made by African Americans and their ancestors in the pursuit of freedom, justice, and equality. Red was included in a Pan-African flag to honor the blood spilled during a fight against oppression from the transatlantic. I'm sorry, I cannot talk. Slave trade to struggles for civil rights and independence. Red serves as a solemn reminder of the struggles and sacrifices endured by African Americans throughout history. It is also a symbol of courage and determination in the face of adversity. Color Black is a cornerstone of Black History Month, symbolizing the African diaspora and its shared heritage. It serves as a reminder of unity, resilience, and pride in African identity. The color Black became a unifying symbol during the Pan-African movement led by Marcus Garvey. Garvey's Universal Negro Improvement Association adopted Black in a Pan-African flag to signify pride and solidarity among people of African descent worldwide. Black symbolizes empowerment and the enduring strength of Black communities. It represents a collective identity highlighting the shared experience of African Americans in the African diaspora. Now, that, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I broke down and couldn't stop sniffling. But those are the first two colors. I did decide to add brown in there because it's a nude color and it's kind of like the closest color to my own skin tone. So that I have. So that's why I decided to add brown into this also. So, with the color green, it is a tribute to the rich, fertile land of Africa and the hope of growth, prosperity, and renewal of Black communities. Green is the Pan-African flag. The Pan-African flag represents the abundant landscapes of Africa and the potential of renewal and prosperity. It reminds us of Africa's legacy as the cradle of civilization. Green symbolizes the growth of Black communities and potential for economic empowerment. It also reflects the connection to ancestral lands and the importance of environmental stewardship. Now, that is the reason we use those three colors when it comes to Black History Month. And I will explain to you guys why yellow is incorporated also. But I want to tell you guys, I did use my airbrush machine for like the third or fourth time. And the first time I did use gel polish and acetone. And I didn't know how to use it, so it kind of like messed up. But it cleaned my airbrush machine out after I like cleaned it out with acetone. Everything was fine. But I'm sorry, this is after filing and buffing. And since then, I have used my airbrush paint. But this is my first time using the thinner along. Well, you see, I've been struggling with this yellow. The thinner with the airbrush paint because my last time using it, I had pink. And it took me forever to actually clean and get that pink out when I used just the pink. It's like as if it dried up inside my airbrush machine before I even got a chance to like get ready to clean it and put it away. I was able to spray my nails and then I set it to the side to kind of like get my little paper towels and stuff to empty it out. It was like drying up inside my airbrush machine. So I ended up having this issue that I'm having right now. I honestly only showed you, I think me messing up like twice. I struggled through this airbrush machine for probably a good 40 minutes. And then afterwards I cleaned it and it took an hour. So I kind of just like gave up, to be quite honest, that day. Popped my nails off and I popped one another day to continue the set. So it wasn't working. So I'm like, okay, maybe if I go in with some base gel, it might stick to that. It still was a struggle, but I did do it and I finished it. I did like one coat on camera and then I finished it off camera because it was just too much of a struggle, to be completely honest with you. So I'm going to let you guys know what the color yellow represents. It represents wealth, wisdom, and the richness of African culture and traditions. Although not part of the original Pan-African flag, yellow is often associated with Black history due to its representation of the opulence of ancient African civilizations such as Ghana and Mali. It also symbolizes enlightenment and hope. Yellow highlights the cultural and intellectual wealth of the Black community. It serves as a symbol of optimism and the golden opportunity available when history and heritage are embraced. So I just read this offline, to be completely honest with you. But I hope that helps you understand why these four colors are represented in the Pan-African flag. And it's part of Black History Month. So I think I do the red nail. Yeah. And it wasn't showing up. It was like more was on paper towel than my actual nail. So, like I said, I did end up just doing it off camera. I showed you guys that it was showing up a little bit and did the rest off camera. So in this nail set today, I wanted to highlight the queens, in my opinion, of Black History Month. I know we always think about Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. Like, in all honesty, those are like, honestly, Martin Luther King is like who my kids know more than anybody, to be completely honest with you. And so I just want to highlight the women that was part of the movement just as well. And so I chose three legends, three beautiful queens to draw. The first one was Sojourner Truth. And I decided to do Sojourner Truth because, in all honesty, she is buried here in Michigan. And she is buried in Battle Creek, Michigan, is somewhere my husband used to work. So that kind of like stood out to me. And that's the reason why I wanted to do her. And my kids do not know who Sojourner Truth is. So I felt like I needed to look up more history on her so I could educate my kids. So I'm going to let you guys know that Sojourner Truth was an African-American evangelist, abolitionist, women's rights activist, and author who was born into slavery before escaping to freedom in 1826. After gaining her freedom, Truth preached about abolitionism, and equal rights for all. She became known for the speech with the famous refrain, "Ain't I a woman?" that she was said to have delivered at a women's convention in Ohio in 1851. Although accounts of her speech has since been challenged by historians, Truth continued her crusade throughout her adult life, earning an audience with President Abraham Lincoln, becoming one of the world's best-known human rights crusaders. Sojourner Truth was born Isabella Bomfrey, I hope I pronounced that right, in 1797 to enslaved parents James and Elizabeth Bomfrey. I hope I pronounced that right. I'm so sorry. In Ulster County, New York. Around age 9, she was sold in an auction to John Neely for $100, along with a flock of sheep. Neely was a cruel and violent master who beat the young girl regularly. She was sold 2 more times by the age 13 and ultimately ended up at the West Park, New York home of John Dumont and his second wife, Elizabeth. Around age 18, Elizabeth fell in love with an enslaved man named Robert from a nearby farm, but the couple was not allowed to marry since they had separate owners. Instead, Isabella was forced to marry another enslaved man owned by Dumont named Thomas. She eventually bore 5 children: James, Diane, Peter, Elizabeth, and Sophia. So one of her children was taken away. It was her son. His name was Peter. And they say after the New York anti-slavery law was passed, Dumont illegally sold Isabella's 5-year-old son Peter with the help of the Van Wagenists. I'm sorry, I'm pronouncing his name all wrong. She filed a lawsuit to get him back. Months later, Isabella won her case and regained custody of her son. She was the first Black woman to sue a white man in the United States court and prevail. During the Civil War, Truth helped recruit, now we're back to calling her Truth, okay? She helped recruit Black troops for the Union Army. After the war, she tried unsuccessfully to secure land grants from the federal government for formerly enslaved people. She continued the fight on behalf of women and African Americans until her death. As her biographer, Nell Irvin Painter, wrote, at a time when most Americans thought of slaves as male and women as white, Truth embodied the fact that she bears repeatedly: among the Blacks are women, among the women are the Blacks. A memorial of Truth was unveiled in 2009 in Emancipation Hall at the United States Capitol Visitor Center. She is the first African American woman to have a statue in the Capitol building. In 2014, Truth was included in the Smithsonian Magazine list of the 100 most significant Americans of all times. So, Sojourner Truth literally lived a long life, a hard life, and she still managed to have a husband, raise her children, and help people of color. Like, that's something that says a lot about a woman's strength in general and people's strength from back then. This was in 1700s. Like, this is crazy to think that once I get from Sojourner Truth to the last woman, you're going to see that these women are like decades apart. And to know that women along of course men, but the women that I chose alone worked for so long to have freedom and equality amongst people. It actually blows my mind to know how long it took. Like, it's crazy, to be completely honest. Like, I have no words for it, to tell you the truth. I have no words. But one thing I do want to tell you guys, that I tried to draw her face. I'm not that sweet. So I just had to color it in. I was making her look crazy, and I would never ever want to make a legend, any legend, look crazy because I'm in this mud trying to do nail art. Like, I would never do that. So I was hoping that, of course, letting you guys know who these women are and kind of giving you, and I like picking like one of their most famous pictures and giving you, like, you know, an animated cartoonish look to them. You will know who I drew. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I apologize to her in spirit that I could not draw her face, and I couldn't give, and I apologize to you guys because I couldn't give you guys more detail. Next, I decided to do the beautiful legend Harriet Tubman. And Harriet Tubman, born, I know I pronounced this wrong, Armita Ross in March 1822, was an American abolitionist and social activist. After escaping slavery, Tubman made some 13 missions to rescue approximately 70 enslaved people, including her family and friends, using a network of anti-slavery activists in safe houses known collectively as the Underground Railroad. During the American Civil War, she served as an armed scout and spy for the Union Army. In her later years, Tubman was an activist in the movement for women's suffrage. Her parents, Harriet, aka Rick Green, and Benjamin Ross, named her Amarita, I'm pronouncing that wrong, and called her Minty. Rick worked as a cook in the plantation's big house, and Benjamin was a timber worker. Arminta later changed her first name to Harriet in honor of her mother. Harriet had 8 brothers and sisters, but the realities of slavery eventually forced many of them apart, despite Rick's attempt to keep her family together. When Harriet was 5 years old, she was rented out as a nursemaid, where she was whipped when the baby cried, leaving her with permanent emotional and physical scars. Around age 7, Harriet was rented out to a planter to set muskrat traps and was later rented out as a field hand. She later said she preferred physical plantation work to indoor domestic chores. On September 17, 1849, Harriet, Ben, and Henry escaped their Maryland plantation. The brothers, however, changed their minds and went back. With the help of the Underground Railroad, Harriet persevered and traveled 90 miles north to Pennsylvania and freedom. Tubman found work as a housekeeper in Philadelphia, but she wasn't satisfied living free on her own. She wanted freedom for her loved ones and friends too. She soon returned to the South to lead her nieces and her nieces' children to Philadelphia via, however you want to pronounce it, the Underground Railroad. At one point, she tried to bring her husband John north, but he remarried and chose to stay in Maryland with his new wife. In 1850, the Fugitive Slave Act allowed fugitives and freed workers in the North to be captured and enslaved. This made Harriet's role as an Underground Railroad conductor much harder and forced her to lead enslaved people further north to Canada, traveling at night, usually in spring or fall when the days were shorter. She carried a gun for her own protection, and to encourage her chargers who might be having second thoughts. She often drugged babies and young children to prevent slave catchers from hearing their cries. Over the next 10 years, Harriet befriended other abolitionists such as Frederick Douglass, Thomas Garrett, and Martha Coffin White, and established her own Underground Railroad network. It widely reported she emancipated 300 enslaved people. However, those numbers have been estimated and exaggerated by her biographer Sarah Bradford, since Harriet herself claimed the numbers were much smaller. Nevertheless, it believed Harriet personally led at least 70 enslaved people to freedom, including her elderly parents, and instructed dozens of others on how to escape on their own. She claimed, "I never ran my train off the track, and I never lost a passenger." Those were her words, quote and unquoted. Now, the next legend that I'm going to be talking about is Rosa Parks. Rosa Louise Macaulay Parks, born February 4th, 1913, was an American activist in the civil rights movement, best known for her pivotal role in the Montgomery bus boycott. The United States Congress has honored her as the First Lady of Civil Rights and the mother of the freedom movement. Parks became an NAACP activist in 1943, participating in several high-profile civil rights campaigns. On December 1st, 1955, in Montgomery, Alabama, Parks rejected bus driver James F. Blank's order to vacate a row of 4 seats in the colored section in favor of a white female passenger who had complained to the driver. Once the white section was filled, Parks was not the first person to resist bus segregation, but the NAACP believed that she was the best candidate for seeing through a court challenge after her arrest. for civil obedience in violating of Alabama segregation laws, and she helped inspire the Black community to boycott the Montgomery buses for over a year. The case became bogged down in the state courts, but the federal Montgomery law lawsuit, Browder versus Gale, resulted in a November 1956 decision that the bus segregation is unconstitutional under the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution. Parks' act of defiance and the Montgomery bus boycott became important symbols of the movement. She became an international icon of resistance to racial segregation, organized and collaborated with civil rights leaders, including Edgar Nixon and Martin Luther King Jr. At the time, Parks was employed as a seamstress at a local department store and was the secretary of Montgomery chapter of the NAACP. She had recently attended a Highlander Folk School, a Tennessee center for training activists for workers' rights and racial equality. Although widely honored in later years, she also suffered for her act. She was fired from her job and received death threats for years afterwards. Shortly after the boycott, she moved to Detroit, where she briefly found similar work. From 1965 to 1988, she served as secretary and receptionist to John Conyers, an African-American U.S. representative. She was also active in Black Power movement and the support of political prisoners in the United States. Rosa Parks Day is a holiday in honor of civil rights leader Rosa Parks, celebrated in the U.S. states of Missouri and Massachusetts on her birthday, February 4th, in Michigan and California on the first Monday after her birthday, and in Ohio, Texas, Alabama, Tennessee, Oregon, and several cities and counties on the day she was arrested, December 1st. So the reason I chose the picture of her mugshot, I wanted to do the one of her sitting on the bus, but I attempted and it didn't work out well. I just couldn't draw like the silhouette of the side of her face along with her hair and glasses. It just wasn't working out. So the second picture I chose was her mugshot because that's something that she is most famous for, which is of course her getting arrested after not giving her seat up to the white passenger. And this is something that I thought my children were going to be able to recognize, but they were not because it was the actual mugshot of her. They just know Rosa Parks. Honestly, they mainly only know Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and Rosa Parks. They don't know too many. Like, they've heard of Harriet Tubman. They heard of Frederick Douglass. They don't know too many others at all. They did not know who Sojourner Truth was at all. And with this mugshot, I thought this was going to be a famous picture as far as the kids go, but it was not. I feel like it's for people my age or like a little bit older, probably a little bit before their time, to recognize the fact that this mugshot was famous because this was the time that she had got arrested for that incident at that moment. Of course, they did other boycotts. Of course, there were sit-ins. But the fact that she was arrested for not giving her seat up after a long day of work, just like the white woman probably was getting off work just as well after a long day of work, and sitting in the section that was for colored people, and she still had to give her seat up. I feel like that is what allowed people to understand more of this is like, we know this wrong, but this is like wrong. And I feel like that's why they also allowed her to continue through with her court case because, okay, we're all segregated. Okay, we're y'all claiming we have equal rights. Even when we're in the right to sit in our Black-only section, our colored-only section, we still have to give our seats up. So that's why I chose that as the second picture. I feel like that is the famous picture of the beautiful Rosa Parks. All of these ladies are beautiful and wonderful, and I'm honored to have been able to attempt to draw them on my nail set. And I wouldn't have chose, I wish I had more time to draw people, but these are women I would have chose. Other than them, I would have added Madam C.J. Walker to my pinky, but of course my pinky is not big enough. So instead, I just decided to do the year that Black History Month was first celebrated, which is celebrated in 1976. It is a month long. It's pretty much celebrated all month long to celebrate, celebrated all month long for African American history and achievements that took place and take place is celebrated each February in the United States. And so I thought adding that year allotted to be known, like, even though since Sojourner Truth was born we have been trying to celebrate equal rights for Black women, Black people, and have equal rights for Black people. And so it took a minute, but it is here. So that's really all that matters. And that was in, like I said, 1769. Now, one thing that always stuck with me, and I honestly haven't been able to explain this fully to my kids, but doing research for this nail set, I was able to actually find out why February is the month that Black History Month is celebrated. You guys probably already know, or you probably always felt the way I felt, was why is Black History Month celebrated the shortest month of the year? Even with a leap year, it's still the shortest month of the year. Like why? I don't get it. Even Martin Luther King's birthday is in January. Why would it not be a month like that? It's February. Like, why? Doing this research, I found that Black History Month takes place in February because February is the birth month of President Abraham Lincoln. And you already know Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. Sorry, my husband just called. The Emancipation Proclamation. And the abolitionist Frederick Douglass believed to have been born in February 1818. So those two men are the reason why Black History Month is celebrated in February. I did not know that, to be completely honest with you. I didn't even know which month that Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. I just know he signed it, and February was the month that we celebrated. And so that's why I put on this nail, One Month Can't Hold Our History, because this is something that needs to be celebrated just like everything else all year long. I don't want to mention anything else at the time right now, but one thing I will mention that's very close to my heart is not Black History Month, but Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's something that needs to be checked, celebrated, and aware all year long. And so I feel like it's hard to pinpoint a month for certain things in Black history, breast cancer, any cancer. It's hard to just narrow it down to 1 month. Like, it's something that just to be celebrated at all times. I wish there's a way we could, but, we can't. So I'm thankful alone that Black History Month is celebrated because our ancestors did go through a lot. I mean, you have to think. Sojourner Truth was born in 1797. Like, 1797. Like, this was hundreds of years before a lot of us was even born. And it just blows my mind to think that how long people have suffered and fought and felt defeated or had accomplishments within these past years. And we are now able to, since 1976, now are able to actually celebrate the history that these people have made and created for us. So I want to thank you guys for being here with me. This is the final look. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I want to tell you guys I love each and every one of you guys. I appreciate you guys, every single one of you. Stay safe and happy Black History Month. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye, darling. If you like what you saw in today's video, hit that subscribe button, that like button, comment down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, darling.